More than 1,500 published medical studies show that your mental, emotional, and physical health, not to mention your subtle energy body, are being permanently impaired by these invisible rays. Not will be compromised at some hazy future date, are being degraded by this nearly ubiquitous cellular bombardment. The damage begins immediately, it is cumulative, and most often it cannot be reversed. Children are especially at risk. So are our furred, feathered, amphibious, buzzing, and four-legged friends, also highly susceptible to wireless pollution. If anyone in this room is concerned about 2012 and this supposed cosmic burst striking the Earth at that time, you can relax. The electromagnetic storm is already here, and we're doing it to ourselves. So let's get radical. Let's go to the roots of this whole thing. Everything, we can agree, everything is vibration. The only reason you can sit on that chair without falling onto the ground is that it's vibrating slowly enough, so is your body, that you can sit in that chair. Everything is vibration. Everything is frequency. And like waves at sea, and I've seen a few myself, each frequency is characterized by its own up and down amplitude and its short or long wavelength. And like storms at sea, short, choppy wavelengths can piggyback on each other. It's called superheterodyning. Piggyback and form rogue waves or rogue frequencies that are even more disruptive. And this is the soup that we swim through. So if everything is a vibration and everything is in either resonance or discord with every other vibration instantaneously across space, then we want to pay attention to the vibrations we interact with, especially those in the electromagnetic spectrum produced artificially to pulse at frequencies never before encountered by life on this planet. Never before encountered. Remember that your body is an antenna filled with electrically conductive fluid. It becomes more transparent to radio frequency radiation as frequency increases. The higher up the electromagnetic spectrum we go, the more risk there is because each photon carries more energy. As hertz or cycles per second increase, biological stress on the human body increases too. It's not the power level, folks. Cell phones operate at very low power levels. Wireless operates at very low power levels. Those power levels are even more dangerous than higher power levels. But it's all this pulsing that's the problem. And cell phones in particular are dangerous because they also operate in microwave frequencies, very high microwave frequencies. And just like the food in your microwave oven, and please unplug that thing immediately and put that away when you get home. The food vibrates so fast in a microwave oven, the molecular structure of that food changes, and your body accepts that food and regards it as a foreign invader. So that if you put your nice, expensive organic veggies in your microwave, your cholesterol reading will go up off the chart, as if you're eating junk food, because the body's trying to protect itself against the molecules it can't recognize. So too, cell phones vibrate human cells, heat them up, and cause all kinds of disruptions. Dr. George Carlo was a person who found this out. He was working for a research group funded by Motorola some years ago to come up with a study showing that these things are safe. Unfortunately, he came up with a study that said cell phone radiation can triple the number of chromosome abnormalities in human blood cells. He was fired. All of these researchers that told the truth and found out disturbing information that I'm talking about today, and I have in my book outside, they were all fired, their labs shut down. And finally, while we're on this subject, I invite you to check out Dr. Matsuo Emoto's book, Hidden Messages in Water. Probably you've seen it. I've got some photographs up on the table there. Amazing photographs. He takes water and subjects it to the vibrations that we call words, negative vibrations, loving vibrations, and then freezes them and photographs these snowflake-like crystalline structures. Go have a look at the photographs of water subjected to loving vibration, loving words, and the one next to it subjected to cell phone vibration. drastic difference. Well, what do you think's happening to the water in our own bodies? We're mostly water by weight. What do you think's happening to the city reservoir right out there, subjected to all these RF and microwave frequencies? I wonder. Of course, everybody insists they feel fine until they don't. Now, the Chinese call our subtle energy qi. They know and they say, and we believe, that when it's blocked, disease resolves. I quote a woman, she's wonderfully named, her name is Phyllis Light, and she said, how is Wi-Fi affecting us energetically? What happens when our electromagnetic blueprint, our electromagnetic field, is repeatedly jackhammered by artificial electromagnetics? Well, things come apart. Remember, I was mentioning the cells and how chemistry is the medium of exchange in our cells. Well, cellular phones, it turns out, are very aptly named. When you chat on a cell phone, your own cells are chattering away, as we mentioned, in chemical codes. These living cells recognize specific frequencies, and they react to these frequencies. For example, a certain frequency can open up your cell wall and let in these proteins and other bad things. Normally, of course, this would never happen. But electromagnetic radiation, microwaves, and RF in particular can open the cell walls in our bodies and in our brains. So when we use a cell phone, we are truly dialing our cells. And each conversation dials our cells directly, and the message is, hang up. Most cells exposed to mobile phone radiation are disrupted and unable to function for up to an hour after the call, or longer. Again, the damage is cumulative. We mentioned those calcium levels. Turns out that wireless radiation causes a spike in calcium at 1/10 the British safety guidelines, at frequencies that cause the biggest changes in calcium that invite rapid and uncontrolled cell division. The cells of our heart muscles are also affected. Heart attacks can result. We're talking a truly astronomical event here. An astronomer said that if Neil Armstrong had taken a cell phone to the moon in 1969, presumably he went to the moon, the third most powerful source of microwave radiation in the universe, next only to the sun and the Milky Way, would have been on the moon. The third most powerful source of microwave energy in one little cell phone. Now, are we willing to allow that to permeate our children's and our own energy fields in our lives over a lifetime of constant exposure? I hope not. I know we're all getting thirsty, so later on, if you want to win a bar bet, ask the person next to you, hey, what's the biggest source of pollution on Earth? The answer, of course, human-made electromagnetic fields. That's how I got interested in this subject. I was writing about the effects of military on the environment in war and peacetime for New Society over in Gabriola, a book called Scorched Earth, and I read, this is the biggest pollution of all. Dr. George Carlo, we mentioned him. He says, because of wireless technology, our global equivalent of Rome's lead pipes, electromagnetic radiation has increased 500,000 times over normal background levels in the last 5 years. Whoa. More than 1 trillion times in the last few decades. And we're subtle electrochemical beings. We are exquisitely sensitive to electromagnetic stimuli. On this planet, the normal background level of electromagnetic radiation is between 0.01 and 0.00001 microwatts per square meter. Cell phones radiate between 2 and 50 million microwatts per square meter. Are we done yet? Swedish studies show rat brain damage. Remember, rats are us. In terms of DNA and brain, rats are us. Brain damage at SAR levels 800 times lower than government guidelines. 800 times lower. That means that secondhand radiation from someone else's cell phone from that tower on the building is significant, a significant factor.